I wouldn't want to be in your shoes if you're facing the choice of tires for your adventure motorcycle for the 2023 season. Hi, it's Andres Ayero, actually, I should say. Ha ha ha. Mr. Andres, because I came to make a video about different tires for different motorcycles. I just finished a segment about tires for sport touring bikes, and I thought, okay, let's go ahead and do a quick overview of adventure tires, for example, using Metzeler as an example. And attention, this is a tire for adventure class motorcycles, and this is also a tire for adventure class motorcycles. But look at what's happening now, even within Metzeler itself. First of all, I'm most interested in your opinions and comments because you know much more about these tires in practice than I do. I'm not able to ride on every single tire myself. I'm not able to do thousands of kilometers on every tire. No editor is able to do that, so you will give each other the best knowledge about how various adventure motorcycle tires perform over long distances. So after you watch what's here, I'll be very happy if you write a few words from your own experience. What do you ride on? How is it working out for you? How does it compare to other tires? Thanks. Metzeler Karoo Extreme. Metzeler Karoo 4, a versatile adventure tire designed for both on-road stability and off-road traction. Metzeler Karoo Street, a dedicated adventure touring tire offering excellent grip and handling on asphalt. Metzeler Tourance, a classic and reliable adventure tire known for its long-lasting performance and comfort. Metzeler Tourance Next, an evolution of the Tourance, providing enhanced wet grip and improved mileage for modern adventure bikes. Metzeler Roadtec 01SE and Metzeler Sportec M9RR. First of all, I have to stand on my tiptoes just to peek out from behind these tires. Secondly, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes if you're facing the choice of tires for your adventure motorcycle for the 2023 season, because even just looking at Metzeler alone shows that you could simply go crazy. In the previous video, I said, hey, just pick a tire with a tread pattern you like, and honestly, any modern tire will work well on the road. And here we have tires that are sporty, road tires that are supposedly for a bit of gravel, road tires that are a bit more for gravel, road tires that are even more for gravel, maybe some sand, off-road, but also for asphalt, but also for sand and gravel, and completely off-road, practically rally tires. And the differences between them are so subtle that you probably need to make yourself an Excel spreadsheet and plan out exactly how you'll be riding during the season. But you know what? Luckily, I have eyes, and luckily, I can look at all of them at once. On the internet, you know, it's a bit hard to look at every tire all at once. When I look at them now, I think I can easily divide them into 3 groups. And we can talk about these 3 groups. So I can clearly see that here we have road tires, clearly 50-50 tires, and clearly typical off-road tires. The best technique is the process of elimination, which means that the sizes will help us the most at this point. Adventure motorcycles, in fact, mostly all of them, come with either 21 or 19-inch front wheels and either 18 or 17-inch rear wheels. The truth is, most adventure motorcycle users simply don't take them off-road. Honestly, I don't know if I would go off-road either, but I'm just speaking for myself, because if I took an adventure bike off-road, I'd simply have to put on separate tires for it. Otherwise, it will be wobble, wobble, wobble. And the truth is, when it comes to terrain that's considered off-road, like a gravel road, you'll get through it on any of these tires. You just will. And out of these 3 tires, let's start by taking a look at these slick tires. These are both models that are only available in 19 and 17-inch sizes, that is 19 inches at the front and 17 at the rear. And as you can see, these are typical road tires. Of course, if it's a hard-packed dirt road, you'll get through it, especially with more modern adventure motorcycles that have ABS, traction control, and so on. So as long as you don't get bogged down in sand, you'll be able to ride on these just fine. What surprises me is this tire, the Sportec M9RR, is actually made in sizes for adventure motorcycles. And that says it all when it comes to the reality of using these motorcycles, because we ride them simply because they're comfortable. At least I like riding these motorcycles because they're just comfortable, and at the same time, they're all fast enough, or even very, very, very fast. Look at the KTM 1290 Super Adventure. Look at the Ducati Multistrada. Look at the GS, which just has enormous torque and can also be ridden very fast through corners. So this tire is for those who simply want to ride fast. What's more, This is a tire you can easily take to a track day, and some might say an adventure bike at a track day. But as we've already mentioned in the Polish racetracks, fast race, slow series, you can also take adventure bikes to track days. Notice that at Speed Day and many other events, there are even groups created specifically for touring motorcycles, where you simply ride not to race, no, but to have fun riding on the track. There, you can open the throttle all the way and brake hard. And then, if you have this kind of tire on your adventure bike, trust me, you can really ride fast. Roadtec or 1SE. So let's be honest, you can clearly see what this tire is made for. This tire is made to be used in a very wide range of conditions, especially weather conditions. In my opinion, when it comes to touring, these are the right choices tires that guarantee you good water dispersion. Because the reality is that if you're traveling far, even to the Alps and so on, modern tires of this type, that is strictly road tires, they still have very high grip. And if you combine that with the aforementioned systems, then this tire is probably really all you need to ride very fast on mountain switchbacks, scraping your foot pegs. Some people even scrape their panniers. I know that such things are possible, and at the same time, as you can see, it's starting to rain, and this tread pattern looks just like a wet sport tire. It's brilliant at channeling water away behind you. And if your motorcycle has a 21-inch front wheel and an 18 or 17-inch rear wheel, Africa Twin, it's less about style. The new DL 1050, well, that's the best seller option for you, meaning the most road-oriented choice, but at the same time, as you can see, the Next 2, the Tourance Next 2, to be clear, this tread pattern suggests that this tire, at least in theory, will perform better on gravel. And you know what? I've ridden on this kind of tire and on similar tires with similar tread patterns, and while they may not look the part, at official launches of adventure motorcycles where we went off onto gravel roads, we used them. You can actually ride on these. With these kinds of tires, the motorcycles can already push off and brake. Of course, I'm talking about gravel roads, and obviously things are easier with motorcycles equipped with traction control and ABS. But from my observations, for example, traction control intervenes surprisingly late. So that means these tires, even if they don't exactly dig in, still grip the gravel quite well. Because it's not just the tread pattern that does the job for you. The rubber compound itself is also designed to grip loose surfaces and small stones more easily, so you can ride safely. I'm not sure if it makes sense to show you the front tires, but I'll show them to you anyway. Clearly, the front tires are a reflection of the rear ones, and now comes the best heresy I've ever heard. I read on a forum that you need to have the same tread pattern on the front as on the rear, because when you ride through water, the front tire makes a pattern in the water that the rear tire fits into perfectly. That's complete nonsense. We would have to have a synchronizer between the front and rear wheels. So here you have the Next 2. Here the front is a Roadtec SE or 1SE. You can clearly see it's obviously designed so that this tire grips well in the wet. And the most spotty of all, the Sportec M9RR, we actually have the front in the wrong size because it's a 17-inch, but normally you can get 19-inch versions in the sizes you need. And now, tires that I imagine as 50-50 tires, and I wanted to say that the choice would be simple, but it's not at all, because this one and that one look like they're meant for the same purpose, but they achieve it in completely different ways. Because this tire is only available in 19 and 17-inch sizes, meaning 19 inches at the front, 17 inches at the back, while this one is available in 21 inches at the front, 17 at the back, and 18 at the back. And to make things even more complicated, the 19-inch option is also available. So if you have an adventure bike with 19 and 17-inch wheels, you look at both of these and have to decide. But if you have a 21-inch front wheel, then it gets a bit easier, because you only need to look at this one. And pay attention to the tires, which are clearly designed for both asphalt and gravel riding, with such minimal differences that it's really hard to make a decision. Because, look, personally, if I can speak for myself, I'm a fan of this kind of solution. So you have a tire that has quite a lot. My hands are already dirty from these tires, quite deep grooves running across it. So this is a tire that should be quite effective at braking in a straight line. It should also accelerate quite effectively, but at the same time, because the tread is arranged this way, it doesn't collapse in the corners. It's predictable, just as we expect a tire to behave on asphalt. Here, the tread is more uniform. We can see that the tire profile is a size smaller, which is why there's such a disproportion, because this is a 150 on the rear, interestingly enough. All right, this one's an 18, and that one's a 17, which is why there's such a height difference, but as you can see, it's simply a different approach. And both of them, trust me, unless you start competing in a special stage of some amateur rally, both of these tires will simply get you where you need to go. What might help you when it comes to choosing is the type of terrain you'll be riding on. And if, for example, you're heading to places where the ground is sandier rather than hard, then I would definitely go for the Karoo Street, because it looks like a shovel and has a better chance of digging itself out of the sand than this one. If I were looking to ride on roads that are hard, rocky, and so on, I'd honestly be completely lost. But it's more about the fact itself. One manufacturer and two tire models that are so close to each other. Now, the next two models are the perfect way to ruin your motorcycle, or rather, to ruin its performance on the street. Here you go. You put on a tire like this and your motorcycle stops being quiet, you end up riding like you're in an off-roader. You just ride along. It's actually kind of cool. And now the situation is similar, because these are already typical off-road tires, but yes. The Karoo 4 is available in both 19 and 21 inch front versions and 17 and 18 inch rears. And the Karoo 4 Extreme only comes in 21 inches at the front and either 17 or 18 at the rear. So it's a bit of a similar situation as with the Karoo 4 Street and the Tourance. I'm starting to get the hang of these names. Remember them. When I look at these tires, well, again, this is more of a request to you to share your experiences with how these tires perform for those who ride such motorcycles off-road, because both of them will do the job. Clearly, the Karoo 4 is still kind of, well, what can I say? It's more civilized. This one already looks like a typical cross tire, and honestly, so does this one. So, what we see here are these knobs. These are sharper, more aggressive, these a bit less so, but honestly, it all depends on the type of terrain or how intensely you ride. If it's a rally and you're going to be chasing time in that rally, then the Karoo Extreme, even just by the name sounds like, seems to be a more accurate, a more precise choice. But when you look at this Karoo 4, it's clearly a tire that in theory will let your machine get out of most troubles. Except that your machine probably weighs 230 kilograms, and that's what will bury it up to the swing arm. But what am I getting at? One manufacturer, Metzeler, has such a wide range of tires for adventure motorcycles. You can really go crazy trying to choose the right tire for yourself. That's why I'm saying this to you again. You'll help each other the most by writing comments about which tire worked for you and how. And from my side, I can say again, you should buy the tire that fits your riding style, or simply the one you like. Because I know a guy who put a typical knobby tire on his Triumph Scrambler, even though he never plans to leave the pavement with it, but he just likes how the bike looks with those tires. So it all depends on how you use your machine. So leave comments about how these tires work for you, any alternatives, and so on, your opinions. This is very helpful, because we want to start getting a better grasp of these tires. Because remember, the tire is the only point of contact your machine has with the ground. Well, in most cases, at least, until you go bam. But to avoid going bam, you need to choose your tires well. And you can help yourselves best by writing comments and sharing your opinions. They'll be very useful for us, because we plan to get as familiar as possible with these motorcycle tires. Take care. Bye!